Good morning, everyone. Welcome to NALA's, I think, first ever kind of digital literacy online event. We're delighted to have you all with us. I can see kind of the number of people increasing by the second. We had close to 200 people actually registered. So let's see, Fergus, do we reach that magic number? So listen, good morning, everyone, and I'll just kind of run through the running order for today, just so you're familiar. We have a great lineup of speakers who are going to be exploring different aspects of kind of technology and creativity in the adult literacy classroom. We first have up Scott Wilson, IT and literacy tutor from, there he is now, Tipperary Education and Training Board, and he's going to be exploring creating classroom resources using our favorite topic of the moment, AI. Artificial intelligence. We then have Lights, Camera, Co-Create, making videos with the National Learning Network, and that will be Emer O'Driscoll, Ronan Fox, and we'll also be joined by two students, Joe Farrell and Roisin Grant. We'll take a little bit of a break then, probably around 11:30, so you can get a cuppa, and you might be getting cuppas in the meantime. And then we have Age-Friendly AI, Ireland's National Artificial Intelligence Literacy Initiative with Paula Kelly. Paula might raise her jazz hand, from Technological University Dublin, and Emma Clark. Where is Emma? From the Adapt Research Centre in Dublin City University. And then we'll kind of throw it open as well. We might pose some, curveball questions to the panelists. Throughout the morning, if you do have questions for any of the speakers, please put them in the chat. Depending on how we go, we might have an opportunity to kind of open kind of the discussion to all of you in kind of the virtual webinar room. We can do that by either raising your hand or, as I said, put your question into the chat. So don't know if I said this. You can see it from my caption. I'm Colleen Dooby. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of NALA. So just want to welcome again everybody here today and thank you for taking the time. Summer's gone. It finished yesterday, so you've got nothing better to do but look at the rain and the thunderstorm. So hopefully we won't be interrupted by electromagnetic forces that disrupt the frequency of this. Be interesting to know is that we saw a huge diversity of organizations and locations represented. So it'd be great maybe if you could just put in the chat where you are in Ireland or not in Ireland, and maybe what's the weather like where you are today. So is there sun anywhere at the moment on the island of Ireland or elsewhere? I think that's probably about it for now. Fergus, is there anything else critical you wanted me to say at this point?
There's just one little thing. When Scott is presenting, Scott is okay with, as he presents, you type in your question for him because he's going to be demonstrating live ChatGPT, etc. And so if you have a question for Scott, we will try to interrupt him and ask him your question, while with the other speakers will put your question in as it comes to your head, but we'll deal with it at the end. We've got a half an hour at the end for questions.
And just also to say, we are really keen kind of to get your feedback and your kind of, I suppose, observations on today. There will be a kind of a link to an evaluation form that Fergus will put into the chat later. And please do take the time, even just kind of a couple minutes, to give us your feedback, because we do really rely kind of, I suppose, on your insights and ideas to make sure that, the programming that we are providing is meeting you where you're at in terms of kind of your, needs, interests, and kind of professional development. So I think that's it from me. We might just kick off straight away. And Scott, I'll turn over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Colleen. First of all, can everyone hear me okay?
It's a little muffled.
It's a little muffled?
Yeah, it is. We can hear you okay, Scott, but it is not
crystal
brilliant. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there you go.
There must just be a cloud over.
We can hear you.
Must be, because it was okay before, but hopefully
that's better.
That might pick itself up. Okay,
that's
good
better.
stuff. Yeah. It was just getting a bit cold there waiting. So I will start. So first of all, thanks for everyone joining us here today, and thanks to NALA for organising this event. I'm from Tipperary ETB and work in the Adult Literacy Service, and I've been using AI in different ways with the work that I do, I'm by no means an expert. I'm primarily a tutor, and so if anyone has anything to add as we're going along, I'm more than welcome. There's since the advent of AI, or since we've been known about it publicly anyway, it's increased its capacity massively. So there's been a lot of changes just in such a short time. I'm going to run through a little PowerPoint presentation first of all, and just to sort of give you an idea of where I'm coming from and sort of put the AI in context. So I hope everyone can see that. That it's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first slide here is just a few stats. I love a good stat. Hope everyone else likes their stats. But really, what we're doing here is it's giving you an indication of just how much AI is used right now. And as Colleen said, it's important to point out that AI is artificial intelligence, not the AI that farmers might use, as I found out in one of my classes one time, and I was talking about AI and I had some gentlemen up the back looking at me very strangely. So
do you want to decipher that other acronym just for everybody from a non-farming background, just in case?
Sorry, what was that?
The other meaning of AI for those that aren't from a farming background.
Artificial insemination. So yes. So we can see by a lot of these stats here that it's used a lot, and it's only really been the last couple of years that the public facing AIs like ChatGPT, etc., that we've become aware of it. Socially, like our awareness has grown, but AI has been around for quite a while. And as it says here, AI is here. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. Like anyone from the 80s, they might remember the information superhighway that we were waiting for, that was going to appear, that eventually just got called the internet. So it's already here. It's here. It's at scale. It's throughout our society already. And it's it's not something that we're waiting for like technological advancements or anything like that. Your smartphone is proof of that. The technology, the hardware is already here. All of that is already here. So I think the other thing that I just want to mention before I get into sort of demonstrating is that, like, there are many valid concerns with AI. We have privacy, bias, misinformation, lying, cheating, making stuff up, like the full works, and they're all valid. Today, I'm not talking about that sort of stuff. I'm just talking about how we can use it within the environment, within the class, but also with preparing for class. I think that with this, with these challenges, there's also a lot of opportunities, and that as educators we can benefit from those opportunities. Just to mention that there is AI regulation with the AI, is it the EU AI Act? Sorry, to get that in the right place, which is being implemented and is in force now. But of course, as at our level, we're the ones that have to balance that risk versus classroom level empowerment. And there's a lot of things that we can do with AI where the AI doesn't appear in the classroom, and I'll be demonstrating a few of those in a little while, where we can create classroom resources with the AI, and it doesn't even have to be in the classroom if we don't want it to be. But on that, there is also the going back to those stats and talking about it from a social context, our students or our learners, they are experiencing AI, whether they knowingly are using it or unknowingly using it. So I think if there's any significant reason for us as educators to be involved with AI, it's for our learners. We need to be as knowledgeable about AI as we can be for the sake of our learners. And so certainly, hopefully, I might be able to show you some things today. Moving on, AI is more than just a tool. I would call it a workshop, and to sort of demystify it a little bit, it works on natural language. The AIs are most of the AIs are what they call large language models, and so using them is just basically talking to them, through text or even through voice, and they can do multiple things. And this is why they're more like a workshop. They can deal with text, they can deal with video, they can deal with images. So and more they can deal with all sorts of things, music and all sorts of different tools. But ultimately, it's about what they call the prompt, what you say to the AI. And I think the main thing that I'd say about this is it's not like a Google search. It's not like a keyword search. These AIs are large language models. They use natural language. The words that you use and the meaning that you're trying to imply through the prompt is important, and that is the way that you can refine and get better results. Okay. All right. As I've just mentioned there as well on the slide there, AI can also be used to break down some of our educational barriers, and in that context, we have the Adult Literacy for Life program, and it's strategy, I should say. And I've just picked out a couple of priorities. There's loads in the all strategy, of course, but we need to be thinking about, for adult learners, access to technology, which is an issue in AI if you don't have that access. Drive digital competency. Being able to use AI, or at least understand AI, is going to be and is now and is going to be more and more important. And also integrated work and education supports. You will all know, I'm sure, that many workplaces are reporting and using AI in their workplace practices already. And the last one, universal design approach. And I think this is important from an AI perspective as well. AI can really support the universal design in learning, particularly I know for where I work with ETBs, universal design is a universal approach that we're trying to embed in everything that we do, and AI can certainly help with creating content that meets those principles. So, for example, things like personalized learning and differentiated instruction. And I think this is one of the great things that AI can do, and I'll be giving some examples of this in a little while. But there's always been the talk of learner-centered, personalized learning, but sometimes the reality is, as educators, we just don't have the time, and AI can give us back some of that time. As we've said, as I have here in the slide, we have, you can be creating content that is at the individual's ability or is tied to their interest. You can be creating content for separate classes based on their interest, but all doing it at the same level as well. And I'll show this in a little while. It's very quick for us to create one resource, but then differentiate it in so many different ways. It's very good with AI, is particularly very good with text, and also, as it says here, there is the option to be using AI to be giving feedback, using AI in the classroom, to also give those options for our learners or students to use it and become familiar with it. It can help with enhancing student engagement. As it says there, using AI chatbots to simulate real-world interactions. Gemini has a great live feature. You might have seen it in the ads where people are talking to it. In a context where with language learners, this can be a great way for them to practice their language in their own home, in their own time, on their smartphone. And the AIs are very, very good at picking up language. there is as I was saying before with AI, it deals with text, it deals with images, video. There's also AIs that can create music even. So we can get very multimodal very easily. And as educators, I know that I don't have all the skills in, my artistic ability is 0 to none. So when I need to create a diagram or a picture to explain something, or just to make it look nice, it's great to be able to have an AI that I can just put a text prompt in and it can create a picture for me. We also can use AI, as I said, like, students can have that on their phones. A lot of the AIs come as apps on their phone. They can be using them in their own time to help with the learning in the classroom. And they can be also used, socially for help that they need with their social decisions as well, if we help them learn how to use them themselves and be aware of the bias and the misinformation that could be present. One of the ways that here is just an example here, because I can't show this sort of live. This came from a colleague of mine that was showing me how that you can use Gemini to solve algebra problems. Here in this slide, what's going on here is a picture was taken of the algebra equation into Gemini, and then it was asked to then explain how you finish the problem. And the interesting thing is that you can see here is the AI hasn't just given the answer. The AI has actually explained how to do the problem step by step by step. And the AI can read this out, so it can be audio, or you can also visually see it there as well. And this can be referred back to, because the chat the chat history will stay there, so a student can go back over it and they can look back over it. So, as I said, particularly with the AIs on the phones, this can be a really great boon for students. Okay,
Scott.
AI, yes,
Scott, I've got a question from Mary Mitchell. She's saying, what's a good AI if I want to use a QR code to allow the learner listen to the written material, for example, an interview in a magazine?
Okay, so there's a couple of different things with that. So you could put the magazine, see, the thing is a lot of AIs are not, it can't be linked to straight away. It all depends on what your subscription is. So they don't, you might be able to put the article, for example, into the AI and get it to talk to you about it, but linking that may not necessarily be available through a QR. But what you could do is you could get an AI to make an audio transcript of it. You record that video, or record the audio, and then put that audio into, I don't know, YouTube or SoundCloud or any sort of hosting platform, and then you link that that audio via a QR code. This is the thing with the AIs, it all depends on sort of your subscription and sort of what you can sort of have people publicly coming in on different links. So sorry, there's not like a direct easy answer to that one, but it may require a couple of different other programs that you can use as well. The other thing is, as well as using is it Immersive Reader? I think it is. Is that right? Immersive Reader through, Microsoft Edge can make any articles, any websites, readable, and can also do an audio transcript of what's on the website as well. So I hope that helps just a little bit. Of course, as AI is support for educators, and I hope most people would be maybe aware of some of these sorts of things, and that it can do, making quizzes and worksheets and everything like that. And I think, as I said before, AI, one of the things that it gives us is time. It gives us time to do the things, the pedagogy and the learning and the educating that we really are employed to do, you know, because then the content creation can be taking up less time, and also admin as well, in terms of like creating lesson plans and everything like that. So I'm just going to jump across a couple of slides, because going back to what the question that was just asked, the main AIs that I use are ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Claude.ie, and Notebook LM, which is also run by Google. These are they all have different sort of strengths. They all pretty much do the similar thing, because again, they're based off large language models. But they do, like I said, they do have different strengths. One of the things that I would say, you know, particularly if you're new to this and you're still learning, just worry about using these ones. The ChatGPT is obviously the first one that we really heard about. Gemini uses, Copilot actually uses ChatGPT, the AI engine, and so Claude actually came out of ChatGPT as well, the people that created Claude. So there is a lot of similarities between them, but different companies then focus on sort of doing particular aspects really well. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit as I start looking at content creation. But certainly, you know, practice with them, have a go. I really encourage everyone to just try. If you haven't tried them, just try them. They've, like I said, these ones here are all freely available, and you know, there's no cost to you or anything like that. You just got to create an account with them. So all right, so I'm going to just flick over and start creating some content for people. Okay, let me just see. I think this is it. Okay. Hopefully you can now see my screen here, and I'm in ChatGPT.
Yep.
Great. ChatGPT is really good for text. It's excellent for text, and it's quite good for images as well. And I'm just going to start doing something straight away. I'm going to imagine that you have a class of different reading levels, you know, different interests and things like that. You may have some topics that you need to definitely cover. Maybe you don't. Maybe you can, I mean, as in maybe you can have specific interests if you want to cover those as well. But I'm just going to do create a 100-word summary of the Easter uprising for CEFA level A1. Now, CEFA is the European reading levels, and so not level 1. I should be saying A1, shouldn't I? And let's see what it does. The AIs often know a lot of things already in the background because of the way they've been trained. So they know CEFA, they know QQI already. They know things like learning outcomes and stuff like that. They may not know specific ones, but they know what it means. And this is where I was saying that a prompt is not a Google search. It is actually using natural language. And so here we go. We can see that this is the a summary. And again, as an educator, I would check this for facts. You know, I'm not going to do it right now. It looks sort of basically right, but that's our jobs as educators. Our jobs is to, you know, verify the veracity of something and to check for bias, and that is something's not too biased the other way, or bringing in 2 alternative views or 3 alternative views, what it might be. Just because we've got AI, that hasn't changed. If anything, it's just heightened the knowledge and the experience that we can bring to the classroom in this sort of way. So here it is in a quick little 100-word summary. I can now get it to create 5 comprehension questions. of the summary at Cepha level A1, again at the same level. And so it'll do that now. So it's just, there we go. There's a few quick questions. So what I can then ask it to do is do the same thing for Cepha levels B1 and C1. Here we go. And there we go. It's doing the same questions. All right. So, and this is where you get AI. So what it hasn't done is it hasn't redone the summary. It's just done the questions. So sometimes it sort of doesn't get exactly what you mean. So all you need to do is tell it. Rewrite. Summary at levels B1 and C1. Okay. There we go. And now it will rewrite the summary. Again, it's only a 100-word summary, but it's done it at the two different levels. Now, people who are more experienced at with their literacy might be able to see if that's a big difference. But you know, it's the same information, but it's just doing it at a different level. So again, talking about differentiated learning, this is great. You go into a classroom, you can all be studying the same topic, but you can then have it for people at different levels, so people don't feel overwhelmed, or the people that need more of a challenge don't feel that it's too easy and getting bored. And what have I done that in? A couple of minutes. I can also then ask it. And I'm going to ask it to just combine all the summaries and questions into a Word document. And let's see what it does. Okay, it's just taking a little while. That could be my internet.
Scott, because it's taking a little while, I'm going to interrupt with another question, just in case you
certainly.
or anyone else has a suggestion for Martina Stewart. Martina said, City of Dublin ETB has prohibited use of ChatGPT, Copilot and all general AI tools until security training and policies have been created and implemented. Are there any other ETBs in the same boat? This includes research or use on work systems. For educator, this is restricting anyone in similar situation, and any suggested workarounds?
Okay, so I would be very careful about what I say about what you can and you can't do, because I don't want to go against the policy for your particular institution, but it is an issue. And I think nationally we have different sorts of, there's different ways that people are approaching it and stuff like that. And I think from my personal point of view, this is why I said at the start that I didn't want to sort of go into that territory. I can show you what you can do and everything like that, but we are all bound by what our institutes will allow us to do within the institution. Now, having said that, I have my own computer at home. I have my own, agency in what I want to do. As long as I'm not putting in documents that belong to the institution, and breaking their copyright or their privacy or their security, then like I said, we can be creating these documents as I've just done here. It's just created the Word process, the Word document, and that Word document is what I'm taking into class. I'm not using AI within the class. I'm using it in my own personal time as an educator. Now, this is an issue, though, that all institutions, and it would be great if there was a national approach to this, and there should be with the EU AI Act, but it's only sort of getting going. And there is a lot of nervousness around AI having access to potentially sensitive documents. And like I said at the start, rightly so. But all of these AIs that I'm showing you here today are freely available to anybody. So I'll just continue with the presentation so basically if I sorry, where did that go? I downloaded that, and then if I open that file, it creates it creates the, I'll just have to share that. I don't think, oh, I can't swap over to, I'm trying to swap over that screen to show you, but it's not showing up. But basically, look, you it does it into a Word document as advertised. Now, with this, you know, like I said, ChatGPT is fantastic for text, and you know, you could even be in your classroom, you could be creating quick texts for people with their personal interests, whether it's motorbikes, whether it's farming, whether it's technology, whether it's entertainment or celebrities, whatever it might be. You know, sometimes we need to just think, like, I know that there is issues with bias and misinformation, but we also need to think about what we're doing as educators, particularly through UDL, particularly with multiple means of representation, you know, learner engagement, all of those sorts of things, you know, that we can create quick documents that are of more interest to our learners than just bland, you know, oh, I have to you know, get something from a textbook or something like that. When we're thinking about just developing skills and developing like reading, it's more important that they're reading than not. Okay, you know, as another example with this, you know, I had a gentleman in my that I was tutoring, and he had a massive interest in Irish Speedway. I have no idea about Irish Speedway. So as an educator, I'm not much good in doing that. But using ChatGPT, I was able to use it to create, you know, a news article, you know, a fake news article about the local results over the weekend. And so when he came in to see me, he found that far more interesting and was far more engaged because it was on a topic that he has a natural interest in anyway. I'm going to jump across now to another AI called Notebook LM. And one of the great features that I love about this particular AI is that it can create audio, or more specifically, it can create a lovely little podcast. So I'm going to just click on create new there. And the way that it works is you upload the resources that you want it to base its little podcast off. So you can see here that you can upload documents, links, or just put in text if you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a link from Wikipedia. So even more misinformation there for everybody. So I'm just going to make a right hash of it. But anyway, I'm going to link in the website, because it will go and actually read the website. Now you can add in loads of sources, up to 50, I think it is. So I'm just doing this just very quickly. And it's divided into sources, chat, and studio. And in this audio overview, I'm going to get it to generate a little podcast. First of all, I'm going to customize it. So I'm going to make it just really short. And I'm just going to tell it to give a very simple overview of computers. Okay. Now, obviously, you could get much better sources. You could have multiple ones. You could have more specific ones. You know, I'm thinking that you could create audio overviews of like learning materials or the class, whatever it was. And as you can see there on the right-hand side there, it's generating the conversation. It'll take a little bit. Now, depending on your sources and all of those sorts of things, you can also get it to create study guides and little FAQs based on the source material. So again, if you're using, you know, class material that the learners are going to be accessing, it might be a great way to create very quick, very simple summaries that you can then present to them. You know, and the audio overview is something they can also use. In the chat section, this chat section now becomes like a AI based on those resources. So again, this is a great way that you can use the AI and make it more specific to your needs. Now, obviously, I'm basing it off one source. So again, the more sources that you get, that you upload, the better this sort of thing works. We also have things like, creating a mind map. It'll even create a quick mind map for people. So again, generating resources really quickly. They may not be the best resources in the world. That's up to us as educators to then, be going over them. Do they suit what our learners? Do they suit our purposes? Are they true? Are they not biased? And that's something that we all always have to do. So you can see that it's just taking a few minutes. It'll probably just drop in. But what I'll do is I'll come back to it, and I'll move on to. Let me just see. I'll move on to the other AI that I wanted to look at, which was Google Gemini. Google Gemini, again, is free. It's good for lots of different things. One reason why I like Google Gemini is because it's available on a lot of Android phones already. So for learners, they can have it there straight away. As I have recommended Gemini to a lot of my students over the last year, particularly because I have it on their phone. And one of the great outcomes that I had just recently, and this ties in with our presenters later, was using AI to actually fact check some things. So on the one hand, we are worried about AI misleading, and that's fair enough. But on the other side, I had a learner come into me and they were very proud because they'd used Google Gemini to check whether an email that had come into them was possibly fake or not. And, the response from the Gemini, from the AI, was not definitive, but it did say, be wary. And so it was great to have that, for that learner to be empowered to make those decisions and feel a little bit more confident that, okay, maybe I should just leave that email alone, and took the advice. So, that was a great thing for it as well, from it as well. Now, the reason why I'm also showing you Google Gemini is because it has these little features called Gemini Gems. Now, all the AIs have this ability. ChatGPT calls them GPTs. Copilot calls them agents. Gemini calls them gems. And what they are is you can actually create, and again, I know I'm flicking through, but don't forget this is a video. So when Nala puts it up, you'll be able to go through and go backwards and forwards to see exactly what I was clicking on. But you can create a new gem, and you can actually tell it what you want it to be. So, for example, I'm going to create a course developer. And what I'm going to tell it, I'm going to say you, as in the AI, you are expert course developer. Okay, again, going back to the natural language, it's important that you tell it what it is. It understands this. If you say that it's an expert at something, it will try and bring that expert knowledge. It's quite funny that those actual things work with AI. You're an expert course developer. You will guide me through the steps to design a learning plan for a course. Okay, I'm just going to make it very simple. Now, I could also down here, I could also add knowledge files. So, for example, I could go off to QQI and I could grab one of the module descriptors and I could add that in so that it would then reference those sorts of documents, those things specifically. And again, talking about bias and misinformation, this is a way that we can sort of mitigate that by actually getting it to concentrate on the documents that we want it to. So I'm going to just save that. Okay, and now I'll start it. And here we go. I've made my own little Gemini gem that's a course developer. So I'm just going to tell it to begin, and let's just see what it does. Okay, so here we go. It starts taking me through some of the things that it needs. So I'm going to say course title is AI in adult education. And then we'll do, I'm going to just do target audience. I'm going to skip the other one. Educators. Okay. Course goal to learn, create class materials with AI. Okay. There we go. Let's see what it says after that. So I'll input that. Okay. Learning objectives. So there you go. It asks me now to put these sorts of things. So again, if we were using this for real, I can just go through it and go through it and go through it. And it's guiding me through this. We can do this as educators. I know that we can. You all have fantastic experience and knowledge on how to do this. Like I said before, it saves us a lot of time and it helps keep us on track. One of the great things for AI is just simply brainstorming. You can ask it, have you got any ideas for, entertaining 50 people, for 20 minutes? It'll give you some suggestions. Some of them will be ordinary. Some of them might spark something and lead on to something for you. So I'm not going to continue with that. You can create these yourselves. Like I said, these are all free accounts. These are not paid accounts. You can practice and experiment with these sorts of things yourself. And again, Gemini is the same. It will create a document at the end, or you can just copy the response there, which comes at the end, and you can develop it and you can put that into a Word document. I'm just going to flick back to my notebook LM, and here we go. The podcast has been created. So I'm just going to play a little bit so you can just get the idea of it. Can everyone hear that?
No.
That's not come through?
No, it's not playing, Scott.
It's not playing. Okay, no worries. That will be because somewhere I've got to tell it to share the audio. Let me just see if I can.
While you're looking for that, I'll just tell people, Paula Kelly has said that podcast generation capability is also very good in Notebook LLM.
That's where we are. Yeah, that's exactly where we are.
Sound doesn't always work though, Paula. Joking.
All right, I'll try that again and see if I can just make sure I'm on the right one. There we go. Okay, I'll just try that again and see.
Yeah, to guide us today.
Yeah, and our goal isn't just to, read a definition. We want to sift through this and pull out the key ideas.
The important nuggets.
Exactly. The surprising origins, how this complex thing we use every day.
So you can see it's quite natural sounding. And the other great thing as well is if we go to interactive mode, I'll show you this. This is if it comes up. Okay, no, of course it's not going to work for me. Why would it? I'm only live trying to do things. No, there you go. But interactive mode actually allows you to interrupt the hosts and you can actually get them to talk about specific things. So again, this is just a very simple example. It's based off one article. But again, when we're talking about multiple means of representation, developing content quickly and easy, I haven't had to try very hard to get this. And that doesn't mean, just because I haven't had to try very hard, it doesn't mean that it's not good, and it doesn't mean that it's not effective. Like I said, I've got far more time in my day to be able to think about how I'm going to deliver it, think about more about my students and my learners and how I can help them and support them, because the content creation can be taken up so quickly. Now, I am running quickly out of time, so there's just one little thing that I want to just quickly show you, and that is with Claude. Claude AI is particularly good, for generating code, computer code. Now, I'm not a programmer. And so one of the things that I've often had an issue with particularly working with my more senior students, is they want to practice things like booking and, buying things online. But then the flip side of that is, and they're very reticent, and they don't really want to, buy something from Amazon because they're worried about their privacy and they're nervous about giving over details. Rightly so. So with Claude, I've been able to actually develop some practice websites, and I'm just going to quickly take you through the process. So you can I can just tell Claude to code a web form for, say, creating an account with a company called Skylab, say. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, so here we go. It does it slightly differently. It opens up a new window, and as you can see, it's coding. I have no idea what it means. I can't code, and away it goes, and it does its thing. So once it shouldn't take too long. And I'll show some other examples. While that's doing that, this is a Weebly website, free. Again, I have a free account on it. These are some of the things that I've done with it. I've been able to get it to do text to speech. So if I didn't want to use Immersive Reader or any of these other ones, and actually, do you know what? This actually goes back to the lady that was asking. I think it was asking about audio and using a QR code. This is maybe one way you could do it, because if I do the
global conflicts continue to draw attention, with ongoing developments in Ukraine and the Middle East. Political landscapes are shifting, with various elections and policy changes occurring worldwide.
I can't stop it.
Economic discussions remain prominent,
there you go.
focusing on inflation, interest rates, and market fluctuations.
So
environmental concerns persist, with reports on climate change impacts and renewable energy
it's only
advancements.
A short thing. It's going to go through it.
Technological developments, particularly in AI, are also a recurring theme.
Okay, so there you
Global
go.
conflicts continue to draw attention, with ongoing developments in Ukraine and the Middle East. Political landscapes are shifting, with various elections and policy changes occurring worldwide. Economic discussions remain prominent, focusing on inflation, interest rates, and market fluctuations.
Okay.
Environmental concerns persist, with reports on climate change impacts and renewable.
There we go. I'll just do it like that. I'll cheat. It's amazing what it can do. And here we go. Just going back to Claude now. It's produced a form. Here we go. And so what I can do is I can copy that. I can go back to my Weebly. And now this might be out of people's comfort zone, and I understand that. But other people who are comfortable with basically copying and pasting and using these sort of builders, it's quite easy. I can just go to my pages, create a new page. I'm going to just call it a standard page. What was it? Create account. Okay, so I just do that. Here we go. And then when I go to that page, build, I put in a, where is it? There should be a HTML builder. Here we go. All right. And where is it? Oh, there we go. All right. So there it is. It's there already, I think. Yep, there we go. Now, it looks different to how Claude has done it, but that's because I'm going over to different. I'm going over to a different platform. So sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't represent it exactly the way it was before. So let me just see how it actually looks. So I just publish it, and let's just see. Where was it? Create an account. Here we go. Oh, there we go. It did actually turn out not too bad. And there we go. We can see it. Sorry, it's just off the page a bit. And so, look, I've messed it up a bit because I'm rushing. But, again, for people being able to practice, I can't code this. But through Claude, I can do it very easily. Other ones that I've been able to do is, hang on, this is just going to get this out of the way. Yep. Okay. Other ones that have been able to do things like, accommodation booking, takes them through the steps of accommodation booking. So again, very, very handy for me who doesn't have those skills. But I have completely run out of time and used my allotment. I think I'm 1 minute over. So I hope that was a quick whiz round that gave some people some ideas. Like I said, please go back and look at the video to look at it more in detail, but also just experiment, just give it a go. But as one of the listeners there did bring up about their institution, I think it was in Dublin, we have to get our management and the people that are responsible for this, we need to get them on board, giving CPD to staff, but also getting it very clear exactly what you can and can't use and how it can be instituted. And that pressure needs to be put upwards so that we have a clear idea of what we can and can't do in our classroom. So I completely agree with that. There is real risks, but like I said, right at the start, our students, our learners, they're using AI already. So what are we doing? All right, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
That's great, Scott. And I think you said some of the things I was going to say in terms of just, it's a really fluid and evolving space, but the use of it is already there. People are using it in their daily lives, and how do we kind of support that, but also do it mindful of kind of the risks, but yet the opportunities. I think we might have a moment for a couple questions. I think Breda Hayes, I saw a hand come up. Perhaps you could either put it in the chat, or Breda, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a quick question. Maybe she doesn't have a question anymore. Okay, the hand is gone. No, that was a mistake. She didn't have a question. Okay, great. Listen, Scott will be with us for the morning. If you do have questions, we're going to kind of throw things open, for a bit of a panel discussion. I think you've given people, as you said, Scott, loads of kind of ideas and platforms to kind of explore. So there's kind of a wealth of, ideas and insights there. So thanks so much. So listen, I think we're moving on now to